Dear listeners, this is the English service of Radio Television Ishakwe.
Rwanda, which has 13 million people, if you are going to Congo to defend the Tutsis of Congo, why can't you protect and give rights to the Tutsis in Rwanda? Or why don't you give all Rwandans the same rights? Hutus and Twas and everyone the same rights? Why would you have to go to other places and to look as if you are the king of all the Tutsis of this world? I don't know even how many Tutsis there are, or how many Tutsis, those who believe they are Tutsis first and Rwandans second, or Hutus first and Rwandan second. For me, I'm proud to be Rwandan first and Tutsi second. Being Tutsi is my private affair here at the Rudasingwa household. But the one thing I have in common with you, Six Bear, is that we are Rwandans. And Kagame cannot claim to go to defend Tutsis of other nations when in fact the Tutsis in his own country are suffering and Hutus in his own country are suffering.
I think we got a technical problem and I missed the last part of your...
Yeah, I was just saying that Kagame has made himself the defender and protector of Tutsis in the region, in the world, when in fact Rwandans, including the Tutsis and the Hutus and Twas in his own country, are suffering. So you don't have to show your empathy and your compassion to other people when in your own country you are doing precisely the same things that you are accusing other people, in this case, accusing Congo, accusing President Tshisekedi, President Ndayishimiye of Burundi. In the past, of course, he has accused President Museveni of Uganda. He has accused Tanzania for being pro-FDLR. And now, of course, in this letter you saw Six Bear, he's accusing the SADC force of working with FDLR and ADF and FLN and, and that it's Congo that has a belligerent, he's accusing SADC of having a belligerent posture. Who now has a belligerent posture in the region for the last 30 years? So I could go on and on, but I just wanted to say these things that it certainly is a very, very a very dangerous moment in the Great Lakes region of Eastern Central Africa, because the combination of the domestic crisis in Rwanda, the regional crisis, both in economic, diplomatic, military, and other dimensions, are going to create a scenario where we may witness another third African World War.
Thank you, Dr. Theogene Rudasingwa.
Rwanda is still a poor country. That is the bottom line. It depends on the handouts from the United States, from the World Bank, from the IMF, from these blackmail deals that Kagame has made with the British, of saying, "Oh, bring me all the people that you do not want, and give me money," and of course Kagame knows that he won't even do that. They won't even, if you're not giving rights to your people, you won't give them to foreigners. The climate is changing, even for the United States. And so for Kagame, he's sitting now thinking that things will be better for him, but increasingly he behaves like Six Bear is, I don't know how it is classified, but it's some kind of bird. It's called an ostrich. When you chase an ostrich in the desert, at some point it thinks that by burying its head in the sand, that the enemy has gone away. Of course, you come and find it where its head is buried. But that's how Kagame is behaving. And I think the posture of the United States is also going to be very decisive. in
But yeah,
they have not abandoned him as yet. Britain has not abandoned Kagame as yet. Probably they will be the last one to abandon him when everything is clear that.
But I believe that even if they haven't abandoned him yet, it will be very hard for them to provide arms because he has been threatening. He has been threatening the region, and at the same time, he has been parading some more machinery, including air defense and other military equipment. Could he really finance a short or long term all-out war effort?
No, he can't.
Is he economically able to do that? And then
and diplomatically
all those foreign powers who are still keeping a blind eye, could they provide military equipment to him in this context? I don't think so.
Well, the people, the merchants of, I call them the merchants of death, for no better word, the people who sell weapons to any dictator so that he can kill his own people. They are simply selling death to the dictator. And there were always people who are sharks who want to make money out of all that. But one thing I'm sure about, if you look at that question of the cause, number one, that Kagame does not have a cause to go and cause the kind of damage, continue to cause the kind of damage he has been causing in Congo. He does not have the diplomatic support for his actions in the Congo. He does not have the economy to support a long-term project of fighting countries that are much bigger and having more resources than his. Congo, South Africa, Tanzania, Malawi, combined they have certainly more resources, and the fact that you cannot keep on thinking that the men you use on an illegal war, on an unjustified war, are just expendables, that you can have as many killed as possible and then continue fighting. So those are some of the factors I can see that Kagame is at the very end. I call them end game strategies. Kagame has tried every possible combination of so-called strategies in the Congo, but right now he's running short of options. The one thing that will tip Kagame into history as a loser, because that ultimately will happen, is Rwandan people now becoming more courageous to stand up to him. Because all these other forces, foreign external forces, have failed in Congo, East African, MONUSCO, and as I said, this is like an advice to Congo and to the SADC force, that unless they link their actions in Congo with ways and means, innovative ways and means of supporting change in Rwanda, the ghost of Kagame will continue to haunt them for a very long time to come. You cannot simply look at Kagame in isolation in Eastern Congo without looking the damage he has inflicted on the Rwandan people for the last 30 years. So I think that's one thing they will have to think in their planning. They have to figure out, because simply saying that you're going to knock Kagame out of Sake, and prevent him capturing Goma, get him out of Bunagana and all that, and that he will come and fold his arms in Rwanda, that would be wishful thinking. I think MONUSCO has seen that. The East African force has seen that. All these forces that countries have fought in the past, from Angola to Zimbabwe and Namibia now, South Africa, Malawi, and Tanzania. He has fought the Ugandans, he has fought the Burundians. To imagine that that Kagame will be contained within Rwanda is actually wishful thinking. So I think the region needs to be more innovative and think of how to link the resistance in the Congo with resistance within Rwanda for political change, for peaceful political change. I'm always shocked when Kagame says, like it's said in the letter, that, Congo does not want to negotiate with M23. Well, knowing that the ones he's calling M23 are actually Rwanda's forces. That's how Kagame sometimes comes across. His actions, I would call some of the actions of Rwanda are actually foolish. I don't want to call Kagame foolish, but I would say the actions are foolish, because if you are asking Congo to talk to the people who are fighting Congo, even though that is not true, because Congo is fighting Rwanda, why you, Kagame, wouldn't you talk even to people who are not armed, who are telling you that the house is on fire, Rwanda is on fire, and for a long time, and that why can't you talk to them just as President Habyarimana talked to you when you are a rebel, when you are armed? But the people whom I have heard, although I'm not one of them, I haven't asked to talk to Kagame because it would be futile. Kagame made a deal with Habyarimana and killed him the following day. Every deal that Kagame has made in the so-called interests of peace, he has gone back with the other hand and destroyed it or killed the very person, the very people that he made a deal with. But the people who keep on saying, oh, maybe we should, which is very legitimate, that Rwandans should come amongst ourselves, although we failed in 1994, and we failed because of RPF and the governing MRND. Those are the two forces that wrecked the Arusha peace process. Why can't we come together and figure out the future of Rwanda that is free of war with the neighbors, that is free from civil war amongst ourselves, that is free from genocide, that gives a chance to young people to live as long as they can, and gives us a chance to reconcile amongst ourselves and reconcile with the region. Reconcile with the region, because right now, Kagame has provoked the hatred that he says that FDLR and others have exported to other countries. He too has exported all that, and he's the cause of that. He's partly the cause of that. And so, but unless there is an internal process in Rwanda and the resistance in Rwanda against the regime that links up with the resistance within the region against the problems that Kagame causes to the region, we are going to be perpetually at war in that region. And that is my fear, that as we speak, the momentum is growing for that regional conflict. Unfortunately, you can start a war, whether national or regional, but you never know how it's concluded and who will be present at the end of this regional war. And I would hazard to speculate that once this regional war gathers momentum, at the end of the day, at the end of it all, Kagame will no longer be the president of Rwanda.
Dr. Theogene Rudasingwa, thank you so much indeed for your contribution. That's a very big prophecy. I will call it a prophecy because all the odds are clear that if Kagame continues, this will bring his regime to the end. A last comment before we close. Is General Kagame afraid?
Very much so. Kagame is by nature, I've worked with Kagame for a long, long time. Part of what drives Kagame, which many people may not know, is that he's inherently a very insecure man. There isn't any amount of money you can give to Kagame that will make him secure. There isn't an amount of political power, authority you can give him that would make him more secure, because he has it all. He has all the money. He has the government. He is the government. Rwanda is him. I think you people who speak French once, I forget exactly who said, but l'État c'est moi. You remember who said l'État c'est moi? The government, it's me.
I think that was Louis XIV, the 14th, Louis XIV.
Yes.
The King of France.
And so,
the King of France.
Yes, so
Louis
Kagame, for some of us who worked close to Kagame, you always watched him, and he hides behind a cloak of secrecy. It's like he's behind an impregnable fortress. You cannot prod it to really read him, and he prefers that people cannot access him entirely like that. But I, for one, maybe with a bit of the little I learned in the medical school as a doctor, I always looked at him as a very inherently insecure man. And so, but he's an insecure man who go to great lengths to inflict damage on other people because it gives him a high. You remember, every time he has killed somebody or put somebody in jail, he brags about it. And of course, we've also become a clapping nation. You find all these excellencies, ministers and pastors and the clergy and of course the population, the crowds that they go to get from the villages to come in the stadium, and they clap when he brags about killing people, or about imprisoning people, about doing whatever he wants in the Congo. And so it's partly a fear-driven man. He's an insecure man who is driven by fear to keep on doing the same, and often actually believing, or maybe deceiving people, that he expects different results. Right now, he's in the Congo, in Eastern Congo, doing exactly the same things he's been doing for the last 30 years. And he believes he can get different results. And he's attention-seeking kind of man. He's a man who seeks attention for especially through doing wrong things. He knows that if he has another one in Eastern Congo, everybody will be trafficking to Kigali. You know, Kigali is now like a mecca, maybe less so than in the past. But people come to him, they say, ceasefire, get out of Congo, actually Kagame gets a thrill out of that. But I think he has overextended himself. He has overreached. The right word like happened to all these big powers in the past, and Rwanda has never been a big power, but he has overreached. He has reached the limits of how much he can continue to rely on his fear and the fear he inflicts on other people, his insecurity, to continue doing the same things that he has always done. But the one thing I know that is bound to happen is that Kagame has certainly reached the limit, and I think taking on in the current round of conflict that has started, taking on South Africa, Tanzania, Malawi, Congo, and all the diplomatic kind of pressure that is on him.
And Burundi is a serious
Burundi,
yeah,
yes.
Very serious.
Yes. Thank you for reminding. I keep on, yes. So when you see this combined military force and the way that Congo is more mobilized than before, and the diplomatic pressure that is on Kagame, he has overreached. And the actions that he takes from now onwards are likely to be suicidal. Number one, he's likely to say, okay, now let's double up and escalate. Let me now send in and deploy all my force against Congo and against SADC. That certainly would be suicidal. But the other one, Kagame being Kagame, and especially listening to some of his the people that have advised him in the past and have supported him, especially the Americans and the Americans and the British, they might now pull the plug and say, "Come on, Kagame, it's time up." Despite what Kagame says, I know him and I have worked with him in crisis times in the past. When the people from this country spoke, he took it very serious. But of course, they have been ambivalent because United States has all these client presidents and client states all over the world. That is how big powers have always acted. And as long as you are on their side, they won't rock the boat. But Kagame keeps on talking about raising the costs in the region. But you see, he also raises the cost for other people who in the past have supported him. The question is, to what extent would... Are you still on?
I'm now back, but the connection was lost.
Yes, at some point,
you were saying that
Kagame also raises costs.
Yeah, you said
he raises the cost for other people.
Connection when you were there.
Yes, he's raising the he says he's raising the cost for the region. He once told it to Museveni of Uganda. He says it to Congo. He has said it about Burundi. But he forgets that the people who have always supported him, like the United States, also are not going to entertain all the costs that Kagame keeps on raising for them. Yes, you are our guy in the region, but at some point you become a burden. And a friend of today can be an enemy of tomorrow. So he cannot take it for granted. He keeps on raising costs, and those costs can go to even an ally like the United States, and at some point they may be forced to dump him. And it won't be the first time. They have done it in history. And every country has, remember the thing that there are no permanent friends, there are no permanent enemies, there are only permanent interests. And the interests of the United States in the region are much bigger than Kagame probably is able to appreciate.